Hello everyone, I'm Jingjing. I'm the horticulture educator from Cornell Cooperative Extension of Chemung County. Today I'm going to talk about garlic. Garlic probably is the easiest edible plant you can grow. Homegrown garlic is so much more delicious than those store-bought garlic. It's fresher, full of flavor, and has tons of health benefits. There are two basic types of garlic, hardneck and softneck. Hardneck garlic is characterized by hard, woody central stalks that extend down all the way to the basal plate at the bottom of the bulb. They send up a flower stalk which consists of scape and umbel. The umbel contains a cluster of greenish white or pink flowers, from which bulbils develop. Depending on the variety, there may be less than 10 garlic bulbils or 150. For some varieties, the size of bulbils is like a piece of rice, and others look like a chickpea. You can easily grow garlic from bulbils. Harvest the bulbils when mature or when the cluster has expanded and split open the sheath surrounding it. You may cut this from the plant or hand and dry the entire plant. The tiny bulbils take about 3 years to produce a good-sized cloven bulb, while the larger bulbils will produce small cloven bulbs in the first year. In the second year, harvest the bulbils and cure like garlic, and then replant the round that fall. By the third year, the growing garlic from bulbils should be like a normal-sized bulb. Softneck garlic does not form scapes and generally have smaller cloves than hardneck garlic. They mature more quickly than hardneck varieties. Softneck varieties tend to stop better than hardneck. So if you are looking for long-term storage, this type is the one to choose. Since softnecks make up the majority of the U.S. commercial garlic crop, if you have purchased garlic at grocery stores, it was probably a softneck cultivar. Garlic is very easy to grow, even for the beginning gardeners. It requires little maintenance. Softneck garlic prefers dry, mild climates, and hardnecks generally do well in colder climates. Garlic is a heavy feeder and should be planted in a fertile, well-drained soil. A raised bed works very well. Do not plant garlic in wet areas, which can cause rot or disease. In the cold northeast, hardneck garlic is the best. Local garden centers and farmers market will have the right type of garlic to grow in your area. Many garden catalogs offer garlic for planting in the fall, but never try and plant supermarket garlic. It is usually treated with sprouting inhibitors, so it won't grow if planted in the garden. When you save your own garlic cloves for planting in the fall, cloves should be healthy, have no soft spots, discoloration, or other signs of disease. The size of the clove affects the resulting bulb. Select larger cloves to produce the most substantial bulbs. Garlic does best when planted in the fall. In upstate New York, plant from about the time of first fall frost to early November. If your soil is loose and well prepared, you can plant garlic in very early spring, but fall plantings usually yield more. Plant the cloves in a sunny location. Separate the cloves, leaving the skins on. The cloves should be planted with the pointed end up. Space the cloves 4 to 6 inches apart. Push each clove 2 to 3 inches deep into the ground. Firm the soil around it, and water the bed if it is dry. Put down 4 inches of mulch for winter protection. After you are done planting, lightly water in the rows until the soil surface is slightly damp. Be extra careful not to overwater. If the seed cloves sit in cold, wet soil for very long, they will begin to rot. A thick layer of mulch is a good insurance against winter kill. It should be at least 4 to 6 inches. Some people even do 8 to 12 inches. The best mulch is snow. By spring, the mulch has settled, which is enough for weed suppression and heat and moisture control. Some growers remove mulch completely in the spring to allow the soil to warm faster, and then return the mulch after the shoots are about 6 inches tall. Others will leave the mulch in place to minimize weed pressure and conserve moisture. Have your soil tested before planting. Garlic is heavy feeder. Amend compost into the soil before planting. Your first application of nitrogen in the spring should occur shortly after plant emergence, and certainly by the time when plants are 6 inches tall. Apply nitrogen-rich fertilizer as a side dressing along the emerging plants. Do not fertilize after bulbs swell. Weeds are major issues for garlic production. Garlic is an extremely poor competitor with weeds. Weed pressure can easily reduce yields by 30%. Weed control should start before planting and continue until shortly before harvest. Mulch can help prevent weeds. Remove garlic scapes in summer because removal sends more energy back into the bulbs. Cut scapes when they reach the coil stage. Scapes are delicious simply stir-fried in olive oil for an easy spring side dish, or added to dips, salads, or pastas. No watering is necessary in winter months when garlic is covered with mulch. If you experience little rainfall in the spring, you can water your garlic crop every couple of weeks. A light watering down to a depth of 1 inch should be sufficient. If you get reasonable rainfall every 10 to 14 days, watering is usually not needed. Once it begins to sprout, you can begin watering garlic with longer and deeper soaks down to a soil depth of 2 to 3 inches. If it has not been dry in your area, it's usually better to water too little rather than too much. The best way to check the moisture level in the soil is to dig down about 4 inches next to the plants. You want the dirt at this depth to be moist but not soggy. If it's too wet, let it dry out for a few days and check again. If the soil is really dry, you should go ahead and water your garlic plants. Garlic has very few problems with diseases or pests. Garlic bloat nematode is one of the common problems with garlic. This nematode does not only attack garlic, it attacks onions, tulips, and many other bulb crops as well. Garlic plants with bloat will be stunted, will have a premature yellowing of the leaves, and die prematurely. The advanced symptoms include distinct swelling and some bulb deformation. Nematode reproduction damage to bulbs will continue and may increase during storage. They may not look that bad when they go in the storage. They may not look that bad either when they are planted, but they will look bad after that. White rot is the most important and destructive disease of onion and garlic. If this pathogen enters the farm, it cannot be got rid of. The seriousness of this makes it a concern for all garlic growers. You basically can assume that if it gets into the soil on the farm, it's going to be there forever. The primary control is not chemical, it's exclusion. Keep the pathogen out, know your seed source, and practice good sanitation. If it's present in the field, that field will have to be isolated without sharing of equipment or foot traffic. Leek moth is a pest of all alien crops, onions, garlic, leeks, and chives. It is widespread through northern New York. Leek moth larvae can do considerable damage to garlic scapes, and this is a good first place to look for them when scouting. Look inside folded leaves near the developing scapes as well. Controlling this first emergence of larvae can help protect garlic from the second generation of leaf moth, which is more difficult to control since the larvae are more protected because they feed inside hollow leaves. For pest control, it is a good idea to practice rotation when planting garlic. Don't plant garlic where onions or a member of the onion family has been grown previously. Use clean and disease-free cloves when planting. Check all cloves saved for seed stock carefully for disease signs and symptoms. Harvesting probably will be in late July. The clue is to look for browning tops. Harvest when the tops are about halfway brown, but still show some green before they are completely dry. Pull one about 2 weeks after cutting scapes, and then every 5 days until the bulbs are of a satisfactory size. You can also just dig down and look at the bulb size without pulling the bulb. Be careful, as garlic bruises easily. The skins will be moist and somewhat fragile until they dry. Carefully lift the bulbs with a shovel or garden fork. Tenderly brush off the soil. Do not remove the leaves or roots until after garlic has had a chance to cure. In curing, the energy from the leaves goes into the bulbs as they dry. After harvesting garlic, it is time to cure it. You can use fresh garlic at any time. Drying is simply a step to avoid mold and rot in the stored crop. Experts differ on recommendations about root and stalk pruning before curing. Some experts believe that roots left on will wick moisture up into the bulb, encouraging rot. Whether or not you trim the roots or stalk, it's best to hang the garlic in a dry, well-ventilated area. Allow the bulbs to dry for a few weeks to improve storage ability. Use a fan in the curing space if necessary. If you live in a humid area, curing may take longer and you may need to add low heat to assist the drying process. After months, the roots should feel stiff like a bottle brush, and the leaves should be completely brown and dried. Before storing, clean any remaining soil of bulbs gently with a soft brush, preserving as many layers of the papery skin as possible. Cut the tops off 1 to 2 inches above garlic bulbs and trim the roots. Set aside some of the largest bulbs for replanting in the fall. Store garlic in netted bags for optimal air circulation. Ideal storage conditions are 45 to 55 degrees Fahrenheit with 60% relative humidity to deter both rot and dehydration. Garlic stored below 40 degrees Fahrenheit or in the refrigerator will sprout. The entire garlic plant is edible, raw or cooked, in all stages. Cutting or crushing garlic 10 to 15 minutes before using a recipe helps develop its healthy organic sulfur compounds and retain them more effectively when cooked. The more a clove is cut or crushed, the more powerful the flavor will be. Crushing with a pinch of salt can moderate the strength. You can freeze raw, whole, unpeeled bulbs, individual cloves, peeled or unpeeled, or chopped garlic. Frozen garlic lacks the crunchy texture of fresh, but the flavor remains strong.